Now, Heritage Global is currently at $2.23 a share. Yahoo analysts estimate it can move up to $4.17 in the next 12 months. If it does, that'll be an 86.99% increase. Hey guys, this is February 3rd through February 7th of 2025, winning stocks. And I want to go through the stocks on my watch list for this week and let's see how they were moving. A few of them were moving, not very many, but we want to go through those. But before we go through those, for those who are familiar with the channel, you know I like to start off with the S&P 500, the Dow, and the Nasdaq because those three explain how the whole market's been moving overall. And we see that the market has been sort of in a sideways pattern with the S&P 500 with the exception of about 3 weeks ago. We see that week it started to move up a little, but now it's gone back sideways for these last couple of weeks. We see a similar thing with the Dow, that it's been in a sideways pattern sort of for the last 3 weeks. It dropped back a little this previous week, but not much. And the Nasdaq's been sort of in a sideways pattern the last 2 weeks. Third week was, or I should say 3 weeks ago, it was a little above these last 2 weeks, but not much. So if we consider the fact that it was slightly above, we can almost say it's been in a sideways pattern for 4 weeks straight. Now we want to jump into the stocks on our watch list and see how they're doing. But before doing that, we want to jump over into the Stock Sage app because this is the app where we find most of our fundamentally sound, well, not most, all of our fundamentally sound stocks that are at their annual low price. So this is our Stock Sage app. And what it does is it goes through the entire 52-week low of the stock market every day. And it looks at all the stocks that are at their annual low price, the low price for the last 52 weeks, and it pulls up or separates the ones that have 3 or more years with positive earnings. Also, they have total assets exceeding total liabilities. Because those are pretty much two of the most basic things that you're looking for when you look for a fundamental stock. You also want to see a stock where the earnings per share is increasing every year. So even though that's not the case with a lot of these stocks, you want to look for that. Now, we said the most basic of things you're looking for is positive earnings per share at least 3 of the last 5 years and total assets exceeding total liabilities. But there are other things that you can do to make sure a stock is fundamentally sound. For example, you could look for stocks that companies that buy back their own shares of stock for 3 of the last 5 years, 4 of the last 5 years, or all 5 years. And you can look for stocks where the current assets exceed the current liabilities. And we know it already finds total assets exceeding total liabilities. So that makes for a decent balance sheet. And many companies that we find on the stock market, they don't have profit margins exceeding um, 10% for the last 5 years, for the previous 5 years. But we can narrow our list down by those companies with profit margins exceeding 10% for the previous 5 years by clicking here. And we see that our longer list just narrowed down to two companies. We can even say, show us companies whose profit margins exceed 20% for the previous 5 years. And now you see there's nothing this week that we have that exceeds 20% for the previous 5 years. But on those days where there are companies that meet that criteria, it will show them. And lastly, I'm going to turn off all of the criteria for this one. We could say, for those who love dividends, show us the stocks where your dividends are greater than 4%, the dividend yield. Now look at how many companies we have down here when we turn off all filters. But if we click on greater than 4%, that list narrows down to 4 companies. If we say greater than 10%, that list narrows down to 1 company. And if we say greater than 20%, it's still narrowed down to 1 company. Now, the company in this situation is Guess, who sells Guess jeans. But there's a discrepancy with the dividend yield in here and in Yahoo Finance on that. You could check it in Yahoo Finance. Ticker symbol is GES. But going through here many times, for those who love dividends, you can find stocks with dividends exceeding 4%, 10%, 20%. I mean, I've never been one who's been high on dividends. I primarily look for stocks that are going to go up in value, sort of like growth stocks. But since having the app developed, now just about most of the stocks I own have dividends. And I'm talking about dividends greater than 4%, dividends greater than 10%, and even a couple with dividends greater than 20% have one. Well, actually, I have two at about 25% dividend yields. So, in any event, let's jump over to our watch list and look at the stocks that are on our watch list. And we start with Heritage Global. Now, Heritage Global has an earnings report dropping on March 12th or later that week. And an earnings report is for businesses what a report card is for children in school. Children in school get a report card that tells how well they did in their classes over the previous semester. And businesses get an earnings report that talks about how well they did over the previous quarter or 3 months. And if the earnings report comes out good, the stock price can jump up dramatically. If it comes out bad, the stock price can drop dramatically. Now, Heritage Global is currently at $2.23 a share. Yahoo analysts estimate it can move up to $4.17 in the next 12 months. If it does, that'll be an 86.99% increase. Next, we have Myers Industries. Myers Industries is currently at $12.06 a share, and it has a March 6th earning date with a 4.48% dividend yield. And we noticed this stock moved up from here, and it's been sort of sideways for the last 3 weeks. We want to see what it does moving forward. If it drops, continues to move sideways, or starts to break out and move up. We have Perion Network. This stock is about to be removed from the watch list after this week. They have an earnings date of February 19th. It's currently at $9.53 a share. Yahoo analysts estimate it can move up to $10 in the next 12 months. If it does, that'll only be a 4.93% increase, which is why it's being removed from our watch list. We have Greystone Housing Impact Investors. This stock has a February 20th earnings date and an 11.87% dividend yield. We see that it moved up 1, 2, 3 straight weeks. Then we had a slight negative week, moved up the fourth week, and now it dropped off a little last week. This stock is currently at $12.48 a share. Yahoo analysts estimate it can move up to $16.75 in the next 12 months. If it does, that will be a 34.32% increase. We have Inmo Limited, another company to be removed after this week. They have an earnings date dropping on April 30th or later that week. This stock is currently at $18.04 a share. Yahoo analysts estimate it can move up to $21.33 in the next 12 months. If it does, that'll be an 18.23% increase. We have St. Microelectronics NV. This stock has an April 23rd or later that week earnings report dropping and a 1.46% dividend yield. It's currently at $22.47 a share. Yahoo analysts estimate it can move up to $27.61 in the next 12 months. If it does, that's a 22.87% increase. We have Saga Communications. This is a $12.84 stock. Yahoo analysts estimate it can move up to $24 in the next 12 months. If it does, that will be an 86.91% increase. This stock has a 7.79% dividend yield and a March 5th or later that week earnings date. Next, we have Anheuser-Busch, makers of Budweiser and other drinks. They have a 1.73% dividend yield and an earnings report dropping on February 26th. This stock is currently at $50.30 a share. Yahoo analysts estimate it can move up to $69 and 75 cents in the next 12 months. If it does, that'll be a 38.66% increase. We have Total Energies SE, another stock that'll be removed after this week. They have a 5.61% dividend yield and an earnings report dropping on April 30th. This stock is at $60.78 a share. Yahoo analysts estimate it can move up to $72.59 in the next 12 months. If it does, that'll be a 19.43% increase. And another about to be removed, Afia Limited. They have on March 12th or later that week earnings report dropping. They're currently at $16.58 a share. Yahoo analysts estimate they can move up to $19.35 in the next 12 months. If it does, that'll be a 16.70% increase. We have BWLPG Limited. They have a February 27th earnings date. This stock is currently at $12.99 a share. And they have a 26.73% dividend yield. We have Gray Media. They have a February 27th earnings date and an 8.14% dividend yield. This stock is currently at $3.93 a share. Yahoo analysts estimate it can move up to $5.80 in the next 12 months. If it does, that'll be a 47.58% increase. We have India Fund. They have a March 10th or later that week earnings report dropping and a 12.55% dividend yield. They're currently at $15.94. We have Ashland Inc. They have a 2.28% dividend yield and an April 28th or later that week earnings report dropping. Ashland is currently at $63.46 a share. Yahoo analysts estimate it can move up to $86.10 in the next 12 months. If it does, that'll be a 35.67% increase. So that's it for our stocks on this week's Winning Stocks, guys. I look forward to speaking to you in the next video. Have a great day.